Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 011119111.
Joggers. Thank you, Mike.
Donald Trump is going to invite the 2020 Chiefs to the White House to celebrate their Super Bowl victory over the San Francisco 49ers from 5 years ago. The reason being,
why?
I know, that's what everybody's like, what? Kind of random. Because, if you remember correctly, shortly after the Super Bowl, a global event took place in 2020 that made it so they could not go to the White House. Now,
oh, yes. Oh, okay. He's trying to make it right.
He wasn't the president. Yeah, he was the president.
No, he was not.
He was the president at the time. He was the president. Yeah, he was the president at the time.
Oh, yes, he was in January.
He was the president at the time, but he couldn't invite them to the White House. Now, what my question is, why didn't the previous administration invite them to the White House? Why did it have to...
The previous administration didn't know what color their socks were. I mean, they had so many other issues they were trying to figure out. Like, yeah, they didn't have time to do that.
So they're invited. So that means they got to go back and get all the players from that roster, which 5 years ago, and invite them to the White House, not the ones that are currently on the roster. Guys that are going to be visiting the White House. If the team from 2020 is invited to the Tyreek Hill was on the Kansas City Chiefs in 2020. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who recently signed with the New Orleans Saints, he is going to go back to the White House as a Kansas City Chief. This is where this gets a bit confusing. Le'Veon Bell was on the roster for the Kansas City Chiefs when they won the Super Bowl against the San Francisco 49ers in 2020. And Le'Veon Bell recently was sued by his cousin, and his cousin was awarded like $20 million for what she called improprieties when they were younger that continued for many years.
Well, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So that's an interesting look. Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I think anybody who was on the team is allowed to go unless they've, are in jail or broke some law that doesn't seem appropriate. But I mean, if you're on the team, you should be able to go, right? I mean, even if you're not with the Chiefs anymore.
L'Jarius Sneed, no longer with the team.
If you want to go. My question is, who's going to go, who's not going to go? Is there any players out there, like I could see Travis Kelce not going because, Taylor Swift, she hates Trump. So she's like, you go, I'm not going to.
I don't know if she hates Trump. I don't know if she hates Trump. I don't think she plays it smart. Or she
said she voted for Kamala.
Yeah.
So maybe she doesn't hate him. Maybe she just wanted to vote. Maybe she felt that, it was a very political move for her fan base that she had to vote for, not Trump. I don't know. But I'm wondering if there's anybody that is not going to go because they don't like him. Obviously, there's a lot of people that don't like him. So I'm more curious about
Harrison Butker's there all the time, so he's actually gonna.
Well, we know he's gonna be there. Yeah,
he's gonna act as a
very common sense individual.
He's be like, oh yeah, dude, bathroom, yeah, down the hall and second door to the left. Like Le'Veon Bell comes up to Harrison Butker, they're like, man, I've never been here before. And he's like, oh, bathroom, yeah, second door down to the left.
Yeah, right there.
Run fast, Lev, like you used to.
Don't use the blow dryer. It's not working right now. Just use the towels on the wall. Go for it.
A lot of guys that were on that 2020 roster that no longer are on that roster, which is weird, right? 5 years after the fact.
By the way, back to the bathroom thing. If you go to the bathroom and the soap dispenser is empty and you're sitting there with President Trump and he's addressing the crowd, you raise your hand, like, hey, Trump, you're out of soap, man.
Hey, yeah, is this the White House or is this Dulles? Okay, like get some soap in the dispenser. Damn it!
If he's the guy you're talking to, I guess that's who. Hey, Trump, by the way, you're out of soap. He's like, all right, we'll get somebody on that.
I saw a Twitter poll that was asking people if they thought that this was a good idea, and it was they deserve their I guess. Their acknowledgments, They deserve the acknowledgement. That got 21% of the vote. Either or got like 6% of the vote, and 71% of people said, nah, it's not really timely. It's not really timely to invite the Kansas City Chiefs from 5 years ago to the White House to celebrate their Super Bowl win because they didn't get to visit because of the pandemic. If you remember, the NFL was back to playing football the next year. Didn't skip a beat. Because that is how the NFLs. And yeah, they had to pipe in the crowd noise, and they put fake people in the seats and play
the crowd noise,
stadiums and all that stuff.
That was so weird, wasn't it? And you could actually get your picture taken and send it in to see if your picture would end up in the stadium. Like, how would you see that? But they would take little crowd shots.
Boy, that was a weird time. Wasn't that a weird time?
I hope I never have to see anything like that again.
NBA did the same thing. They put like fake people in the stands. They played all their games in Disney World. Like, what the hell?
You know why? It's a small world.
Like
it's a small world during a pandemic.
Compared to what the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball did to fake games and fake fans, going to the White House to celebrate a 5-year-old Super Bowl win, not that weird, to be honest with you.
I don't care if I've never been to the White House before, if I agree with the president or voted for or against. It doesn't matter to me. That's all water under the bridge. I want to go to the White House. I want to see where all of the great leaders of this nation have resided.
And just to get that kind of access, and that kind of acknowledgement. Yeah. I mean, who would turn that down? That's pretty crazy to turn that down, unless you've done it a lot of times. Like, what if Patrick Mahomes is like, I got a lot of these. I'm good. I gotta tend to the house because people keep breaking in. That stuff's going on.
Is that still going on?
I don't know.
It's probably his dad. He's looking for hooch money. Hey, Brad, I know you cut me off. I gotta go in there and try to give me some more whiskey.
They do sound exactly alike, by the way.
Got you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111 911.